Well, hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome to RAM, Real Estate and Mortgage Utah Beyond the Bank. So, you want to buy a home here in Utah? Let's talk about ways to accomplish that. Be sure and subscribe to RAM Real Estate and Mortgage so you can get the most recent video on all things Utah. Today, we have an incredible special guest. Her name is Sarah Parris. She is with eXp Realty here in Utah. Sarah, hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Well, Sarah, tell us just a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to kind of jump into some question and answers since you're an amazing real estate agent here in Utah.
Perfect. Let's see. I'm an Idaho native, but I've been in Utah long enough to say I'm from Utah. I think they accept me. But I love all things outdoors. I love helping people find homes and selling homes. My favorite is first-time home buyers all the way to luxury. Hello. So that kind of just anyone that wants to buy a home, sell a home. Um, yeah,
Basically from
I
A to
just
Z.
A to Z. Yeah, I can help out. But yeah, when the person walks in the door and their eyes light up, you have, um, whether it's a family or a partnership, and one person usually they walk in the door and all of a sudden it's like they get a glow to them. That's the look, that look. That is what I'm looking for. And then the process just starts, and yeah,
That's the look
I'm
that you
there for
like.
it. Yep.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, speaking about Idaho, I'm also an Idaho native. So you know what? Two great minds in one room
Oh, yeah.
together doing a podcast is always a good thing. It's always
Where's
a
your
good
favorite
thing.
place up there?
Very very cool. In Idaho,
Hmm.
is that what you're asking? The
Yeah,
whole
in
state.
Idaho. You don't have one particular place.
There's nothing wrong. Well, I do absolutely love Coeur d'Alene, and I love the Coeur d'Alene Resort because
Mm,
I love to golf.
absolutely. My favorite
So, so
little
that's one
place
of
would
my
have to
favorite
be
spots.
my favorite would have to be Stanley, Idaho. It is just
Beautiful
everything
water.
about Idaho. Yeah, nature, water, river.
I love Stanley. Stanley's a beautiful place. You know, the headwaters of the shoot. What's the river that I'm trying to think of? It's not the
Snake
Stanley
River?
River, but it's the headwaters of the. No, it's not the headwaters of the Snake. It's the Salmon River. It's the headwaters of the
Oh,
Salmon River.
you're right.
The River of No Return is what they call that because they get some pretty darn incredible water. But anyway,
Mm,
enough about Idaho. We're in Utah here.
exactly. Here.
Maybe I should ask you what's your favorite spot in Utah?
Oh, let's see. Now that it would just have to be like all over, but of course Salt Lake City, right? Salt Lake City. But outdoors, Escalante is one of my favorites right now.
Yeah, Escalante beautiful. You know, I'm
You?
probably going to go with one of those golf things again, and I just love down south in in the winter to go golf. So
Mm.
guilty as charged. I like to golf. But anyway,
Oh,
back to
okay.
this. Um, Real estate in Utah. Over the last several years, you've obviously seen a lot of changes in real estate in Utah. I mean, obviously, we've gone through some things on the real estate end as well as the mortgage end. The last several years, rates have been pretty incredibly high. I've been doing this for 32 years, and it's the first time in 32 years that the rates were such a hot topic or such a bad thing that a lot of people ended up sitting on the sidelines. And really, just prior to that, we had one of the best times in mortgage and real estate in 21 and 22 and in portions of 2020 that everybody that wanted a house, well, I guess I shouldn't say that, anybody that wanted a house put their name in the ring and wanted to go get a house. Typically they were able to at least try to find something, although I do know a lot of people were turned away and turned off by the fact that there was just multiple offer after multiple offer, and some people didn't end up in a house, and some people ended up in a house that they shouldn't have got just because they felt like they needed a house.
Mhm.
So we're back to a spot right now where inventory's kind of in a good spot. Interest rates have been dropping down to be in a good spot. And I'll just say over the last 30 years, the typical interest rate that I was actually able to sell was right around that 5.5% to 6% range. We are right there right now. So now, actually, in my opinion, as a lender, is a good time to be able to buy a house, just like the last 30 years. What is your thoughts on that?
I would have to agree with you. Part of one of the interesting things about Utah is that, what is it, 70% of the mortgages are in that lower rate, right? The existing ones where that, what is
Yep.
it,
Yep.
4% and lower? Am I pulling that number right? So you have an interesting
Yeah, 4% or
state.
lower.
Yeah. You have an interesting state where people don't necessarily want to, they were holding on to what they had. But now that they're coming, the interest rates are coming towards that 6%, and you have like a 2-1 buy down or something like that, or in concessions that you can work with towards with the sellers. People are starting to feel a little more comfortable, it seems, to branch out into the market again, feeling like they could get something to move up or to get something bigger, where for a while it was just like such a closed market for the buyers to be able, sellers that had homes that wanted to get something a little bit better or a little bit bigger, as well as new buyers coming into the market. So I do feel like it is starting to get to that point where things are loosening up. People are feeling a little bit more comfortable to go look out in the market
Yeah.
again.
Well, that's amazing. And of course, we need that because there are a lot of people that I feel like are trapped or feel like they're a prisoner to their house, even though it's too small. They don't fit, they're overflowing, they're putting partitions up so their kids have a room. But man, I love that. I love that 3.5% interest rate, so I'm never leaving. But
Mhm.
the reality is there are good homes out there that do now fit the bill for what they're looking for. And we do have lots of sellers that are willing to help clients with some seller concessions to
Mhm.
actually consummate the transaction. Would
Exactly.
you disagree
Yeah.
with that?
No, I just am closing a deal right now where there was $10,000 asked for by the buyer, and it is being given by the seller to buy down rate, to lower the price of home, whatever the buyer needs to get those closing costs settled at the end of the day. So there is opportunities out there for buyers.
That is amazing. And you know what, let's talk about first time home buyers because that's the first thing that you said when you told me what you really like. First time home buyers, you gotta love them. I mean, they're such incredible people. And this is the one thing I want you to tell them, and I'm going to say this right now. First time home buyers, don't think that you can't buy a home because you
Mhm.
can. Yes, there might be a little bit of expense there or a little bit of a payment that you need to make that you might not be used to right now, but rents are awfully high right now.
They
But if
are.
you buy a home, you do have the ability to, in the future, either turn that into a rental or, sell that and take the value of the property that's been appreciating over the last several years into your next home. So first time home buyers, this is specific to you. Don't be afraid to buy the house. It will pay off in the long run. What do you say to that, Sarah?
I agree. And it really starts with a conversation, which can feel like the hardest part. You're like, I don't know. Am I in a position? It just feels like an overwhelming place. So, reach out to a realtor, reach out to a lender, like really have that first conversation. And then from there, know that there's the concessions. There's new home builders right now, they are having incredible concessions. I had a
Yes,
new
they
home
are.
lender, not lender, new home builder reach out with 9% concessions. 9%. That's a big number. So they are trying to, right? 9%. They're trying to offload their current inventory so that they can make room for more. And then, like we already talked about, sellers are, more willing than they were to, offer those as well. And oftentimes with like a 2-1 buy down, rather than, this, I'm talking your language here, but let me talk it in my layman terms and then you can jump in. But you can get very close to what those high rents are, which I think doesn't even
Yeah.
feel possible when you're thinking about that large number of what the mortgage payment is. And then, it can work out so much better to lower that interest rate with those buy downs than lowering the price of the home. And there's just so many creative ways to work the numbers that to get it down to something that feels more
Absolutely.
comfortable, at least closer to what your to what your rent is, and then you are building that equity. So yeah, having that conversation, it's the first
Yeah.
step.
Well, I'm going to throw out here a circumstance or a transaction that you and I were involved in.
All right.
And the client, such an amazing client. You know, she was looking at a home. She wanted to buy this home. You know, she didn't have a ton of money, and we're not going to say any names, but she didn't have a ton of money. So,
Mhm.
you know, you called me and said, "Hey, what do you think on this? So, you know, down payment assistance, you know, maybe a Utah housing, maybe something like this."
Yeah.
And I think the first thing I said was, you know, Sarah, I know of a program that actually can help her with some of that money for either paying off debt, closing costs, or even her down payment. And yeah, there's some skin in the game on her part. She needs to take a 6 hour course, but they ended up giving her $13,000 that went towards her down payment. Yes, there were a little bit of strings attached, but it also offset the electric bill that she has on a monthly basis. And we did run into some problems on the file, and I'm not going to say meth in the garage was involved at all, but meth was involved in the garage.
We worked it out. That was a little hair raising for all parties, but we got that remediated and paid for by the seller. So yes.
I
But
mean, it took them an extra week, but by and large,
one of the amazing things, Craig, on that one, that was the first transaction that I have had a buyer walk away with a check at the end of the day. So not
yes,
only did
yes,
she not have a down payment, it was able to be worked out that she walked away with a check. And that was going towards her first monthly payment that was going to be not the next month, but the next month. She was just, I mean,
right.
she not only an amazing individual, but I mean, so glad that we were able to help her get her home. And she is just, she's fixing that thing up with like wallpaper on every wall, tearing down shelves, and just her and her golden retriever having living the best life.
Well, I'm really glad that we got that done, and I'm glad that there are options available. And you know what, Sarah, that's the reason for this YouTube channel. That's the reason for this right here. Real Estate and Mortgage, RAM, Real Estate and Mortgage, Utah. It's about education. It's about finding ways in real estate to actually help a client get into a house. It's about mortgages, trying to help them figure out what the best way is. Is a down payment assistance through a housing fund the best route to go with a first and second mortgage? Is it better to actually have some kind of a program like this FHA Solar that gave them the $13,000, which was technically their down payment? Was it I mean, that's the whole purpose that I think you and I are here as real estate individuals for, is to try
Right.
to bring to pass homeownership for clients. And it does give me great satisfaction to say, yeah, I was part of that transaction, even though there was some craziness with it, which, you know, Murphy's Law, there's always going to be something that happens. But you know, our job is to be the fiduciary responsible person and the advocate for the client to walk them through this, not only till it closes, but throughout their existence. Because
Yeah.
they will come back to you. They will say, "Hey, Sarah, I want to sell this house, or I want to buy another house. I want to keep this house. Hey, Craig, do you have any other creative programs? You know, I might be a little light on cash. Is there any help we can get?" That's the whole purpose for this. And doing it for 32 years, I love that. I love to see the smile on the face and get the Facebook invite that says, "Hey, I'm having my open house at my house, home warming, housewarming. Please come. Let's get together and let's celebrate the fact that we got into a house." That's the thing that actually makes me tick.
Exactly. I agree 100%. It's making home ownership accessible and then helping them create that legacy wealth that is theirs if they have families, creating that legacy wealth down the road. Yeah, it's creating that education. I mean, that every person in America should have that access to the education to know how to do these things. I mean, people coming out of college, they need to know how these programs are accessible. It should be that we're teaching this instead of how to do your taxes, on paper.
Yeah,
Nobody
I
does their
agree.
taxes on paper.
I agree.
But these types of things, I want to take it into schools and make sure that they know. Everyone, I want everybody to know how they can get into their first home and then, just build on that for their lifetime.
That's amazing. You know, it's interesting because I think there's a specific professor, either up at the University of Utah or another college here close by, that every year I end up getting a bunch of phone calls from clients that want to know what rates are and what they need to do to get approved. And then
Yes.
I start talking to them and say, okay, so did you want to get set up with a realtor? Do you want to go look at some homes? No, actually, this is just a classic college that I need the information for. Thank you for the call. Click.
Hey, as long as they're getting the information, that's all they need. You know what? Later on, they're going to
What
need
I'm
the
gonna,
realtor.
what
They're
I'm,
going to need the lender.
they are. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna next time I get that call, I'm just gonna send them to my YouTube page here so that they can actually go through the videos and they can get all the information they need. And if they want to call me for a quick rate quote, great. But
Perfect.
obviously rates. And let's just talk about that. Rates can vary a little bit. Depending on your
Yeah.
credit score, your down payment. They can vary based on a lot of those different factors. Whether you're self-employed, whether you're a W-2 employee. All those things factor in when you're actually looking at a mortgage. And it is
Yeah.
not a one size fits all. It's not a we sell blue shoes or red shoes. It's multicolored. We have lots of different shoes that we're selling, so to speak, talking about the interest rates, when it comes to a mortgage. And you
Mhm.
definitely want to have somebody that's able to have lots of different programs to be able to help you finalize or figure out what the best solution or what the best option is for you,
Oh,
which
definitely.
I love, absolutely love.
Yeah. And, before I would have
So,
thought bringing down the price of a home would have been the way to go. I would have thought that over the long
yeah,
term would save so much money. When I call you, I have you break it down for the clients, they can save so much more by buying down that interest
yep,
rate. And that is why I love having you
absolutely.
to be able to give that information, run those numbers, have you as a partner. I mean, I thank you for that. You've done a lot.
Well, I'm just going to throw this out there, Sarah. Even if we don't do the transaction, I'm still going to give the information and make sure and educate and inspire and motivate these clients so that they get the best information because there is a lot of misinformation out there.
Yeah.
There just is. So even if I'm not involved in the transaction and you have something else that you're doing, please call me because I want to give that information and make sure that your people are in a good spot. And if you have questions on
Absolutely.
why are they doing this or what's happening here, not that I want to get in someone else's business, but I absolutely am willing and able, based on the experience I have, to kind of sift through the BS and tell you, yes, this is a good deal. No, this isn't a good deal. No, you've been taken advantage of, or this is absolutely perfect. You should absolutely run with this with what you have because this is the best situation for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
2026. What's
How is that
happening in
happened?
2026 for you? What's going on?
Oh my. You know what? Oh, nope. Hey, stop. Dogs, obviously.
Is that
Yeah.
Frenchie?
Frenchie and I rescued a Australian cattle dog off of on my way to Escalante actually a couple of years ago. So they're having a conversation back there.
That's awesome.
But yeah, 2026. You know what? I am.
And sorry to put
Oh,
you on the spot like that, but
yeah, man.
it's the year of the horse or something like that, right? And
It
the
is.
shedding was last year. This year is the building year. So, do you
It
have any great
is.
plans? You're obviously excited for real estate, and you're gonna make this happen this year.
You know what? I am focusing on um oh my gosh, getting really healthy. I am rock climbing a ton and I want to take that outdoors into our beautiful state. And I'm taking pottery classes. I threw a mug on a pottery wheel just 2 days ago. I think that's amazing. But beyond that, I want to do the best that I can for my clients. I want to just continue, life's amazing. Yeah. So there you go. What about you?
Well, same thing. I mean, I'm in a building phase of some really great things that, subscribing to this channel, everybody, you will actually get to see and feel and know exactly what's going on, which is the most important thing. But Sarah, I want you to look right at that camera and
26 yet. I'm marinating and surviving the last couple of months. That's what I'm doing.
well, what I was going to say is look at the camera and what advice would you give to first-time home buyers? And then let's move into the people wanting to sell their home. What advice would you give these two categories of people?
Well, I feel like we already gave first-time home buyers theirs by reaching out, having that first conversation.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I think you just said it. Get a
Okay.
baseline of where to start and figure out what you can do.
Okay.
People
All right.
listing their house. What is the best advice that you're going to give them this year?
All
I'm going to say it for you then.
Okay. Go for
Listing
it.
your house, make sure that you declutter and make sure that your home is in very neutral tones. Make sure that the lighting is all the same. Make sure that the house isn't looked at through your eyes, but looked at through other people's eyes. We all think our house is our castle. We all think our house is better than neighbors down the street. But take a look at it from a perspective outside of yourself. If you're walking through the house, look at things and say, you know what? If I was a person coming through my house, I don't think I'd necessarily like that. Declutter, make sure to take things that are really, really niche or really, really special to you and kind of sanitize it a little bit. I'm not talking about sanitize and clean. I'm talking about making sure and declutter and take the personal, maybe a purple wall with a lightning bolt off and paint it, a neutral color so that people, when they look at the house, they can actually see them being in your house. Is that
Yep.
good advice?
Yep. You've got curb appeal, declutter, make sure it smells good. Yeah. Yeah. You got it.
I think the smelling good is the most appropriate piece. And I always like to leave our conversations with a pretty dang cool song. I don't know if you know it or not. Have you ever heard
No
it?
idea.
Open up the champagne, pop. It's
my house,
Come
come
on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins.
Little flow rider there with my house, right? I always like this. This is always fun. So, Sarah, how do we reach you? Reach you, Sarah. I am, yeah.
Okay. You reach me by my phone number is 801-608-4708. My email address is Sarah at Parris, PARRISRE.com.
Perfect. Sarah, I so appreciate you taking the only 20 minutes today to talk to me. I know it lasted a little bit longer than that, but I do appreciate you jumping on here. We did have some technical difficulties, but I do appreciate you jumping on here and talking to me.
It was a pleasure. Thank you
And
so
remember,
much, Craig.
subscribe. Yeah, absolutely. Remember, subscribe, share with your friends. Let's get everybody the education they need for real estate and mortgage in Utah. We so appreciate you.